Hey guys, and welcome back into the kitchen, and happy Mardi Gras! As you can see, it's gotten a little crazy in here, and I figured I'd get a little crazy with you guys too. So we're making a very traditional Mardi Gras treat today, a king cake. It's not like a birthday cake, it's a cooler cake. It's delicious pastry filled with cinnamon and nuts, and it's got a nice little twist with it at the very end that's also a very traditional Mardi Gras celebration. I can't wait to get started, so let's get in the kitchen and let's get baking. We've got a few ingredients we need to put together for our king cake. I've got a cup of scalded milk, which scalding helps to stop the milk from actually inhibiting the rising process of yeast. And to that, I've added a half a cup of butter that I just melted while it was on the stove still. So this is nice and cool, which is perfect. And then I've got 2/3 a cup of warm water that I've added 2 packets of Active Dry Yeast to bloom, as well as just a tablespoon of sugar. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in our milk to the yeast. And then we're gonna add this to our flour. I've got 4 cups of flour that I've also added a half a teaspoon of nutmeg to it and a teaspoon of salt. Go ahead and make a little bit of a well here. And then the rest of our sugar as well. So now we're just gonna stir this until it becomes a shaggy dough. Okay, this has come together as a great shaggy dough. So now we're gonna go ahead and start kneading this. We'll need to do this for about 10 to 15 minutes. We wanna make sure that it gets nice and smooth. Right now, like, I can still tear it. This is not what we're looking for. We're looking for a perfectly smooth and elastic dough. All right, our dough is nice and elastic now. It's no longer shaggy. So what we're gonna do is divide this in half, put this in a bowl and cover it with plastic, allow it to rise in a room temperature, a little bit warmer than so, for about 2 hours until it's doubled in size. Okay, our dough is nice and proofed. And you'll see when I press it, my indentation of my finger remains, which is great. So I'm gonna pull this out. It's super light and airy too. And now we're gonna roll this out to a pretty large rectangle. Think of how when you make cinnamon rolls, how it's like for that. So we're gonna go pretty large for this. Now that we've got a nice, fairly rectangular shape, we're gonna go ahead and fill this. Now this is kind of similar to the Kringle as well as just like cinnamon rolls. So if you've watched those episodes, you're got a head start on this one. So I've got 2/3 a cup of chopped pecans, a cup of brown sugar, and then a half a cup of flour, to which I'm going to add a half a cup of butter. Melted, so it's easy to mix in together. I'm gonna stir this up until it becomes like a nice kind of sandy texture. And as soon as it comes together, we're gonna spread this on our mixture. I'll just use my hands now. Oh, I forgot to say, I do also have cinnamon in here, about a teaspoon of cinnamon. Put this on over our dough, and we'll spread this out nicely on an even coating. You can use a spatula for this. I like pushing it in because it helps to actually let the filling stick there a little bit better. It doesn't need to be perfect, just make sure most of it is covered. Now we're gonna go ahead and roll this up nice and tight. Just like cinnamon rolls, that first roll you wanna get really good and tucked in there nicely, and then just push out with your hands like this. I do like doing this, cutting off the end just a little bit. And then we're gonna bring this together and pinch the seams together. And then before we let it proof for another hour, about every 2 inches, we're gonna cut 1/3 of the way into the dough itself. So this go in, snip. Alrighty, you can see nice all the little layers in there, which are great. We're gonna let this proof for another hour until it becomes nice and puffy, and then we're gonna bake it for about 30 to 40 minutes until it's really deeply golden brown. Because this dough has both milk and butter and a lot of sugar in it, it's gonna brown quicker and look more done than it really is. So you were looking for a nice deep brown color. All right, our cake is done. It's deeply golden brown and delicious. It's still warm to the touch a little bit. Now it's time to add the wonderful tradition of a little baby. In Mardi Gras tradition, a king cake has put a little plastic baby that you can find. Whoever finds the baby is the king for the year and provides the king cake for the next year. Now we need to put it in there. So basically we're gonna turn our cake over and push the baby in, and we will push it in. Now, no one knows that it's in there. Except for me, I know where it's at. So I've just got some powdered sugar and water and vanilla that I've mixed up. About a cup of powdered sugar, and I start with 4 tablespoons of water just to get it slackened down, and then go from there. I like a really thick frosting, so that way I can kind of push it around and then drizzle it. But if you want a thinner one to be more of a glaze, by all means, go ahead and do that. I've got my 3 sprinkles, actually sanding sugar. We've got purple, yellow, or gold, and green. We're gonna go ahead and make this thing all pretty. So I like more bold stripes in mine. And it's nice to have parchment paper down or a vacuum close to get all of the sprinkles that fall on the floor. Mardi Gras is just full of color, super full of fun, so this is a great cake to celebrate that. Okay, it's time to give this a taste. I've got my good wig on. Let's take a look. Look at all those delicious swirls in there. Oh my gosh. I get it why it's called a king cake. The pastry is so buttery and delicious, and the cinnamon and the nuts. That is so good. Oh my gosh. You saw how easy this was. It's just like making a cinnamon roll, and if you've done the kringle, you've done something very similar to this. So this is a great way to celebrate Mardi Gras. Have a little fun with your friends. By all means, watch a cocktail moment and bring some booze into this. If you guys liked this, like I know you're gonna love this king cake, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you here next time on Jake Bakes. Have a wonderful Mardi Gras. A little baby.